Hello everyone, nice to meet you. Welcome to the listening class for TOEFL beginner level. My name is May. So, before we start our lesson, I would like you to go through the homework correction first. I guess you must have finished your homework, right? So now, let's get started. The first topic is linguistics. The professor describes ways that new words are added to your language. The next one is loan words. Without translation is through compounding. And the last one is try to imitate self. Now, the next topic is biology. The lecture expands on. The next one is the process of creating. The third one is in red bone marrow. Next, we have bones, and the last one is in the spleen. The third topic is zoology. The professor, he compares the bone between falcons and humans to that of dogs and humans. The next one is they are hungry. Why dogs will hunt in order to please humans. Now, the last topic, psychology. The professor discusses an experiment that supports the theory. The next one is the experiment involved mice that were given different levels of shock. And the third one is more difficult tests. The last one must be too much motivation. Today, we continue our lesson with another type of questions, which is content question. This kind of question also appears in the listening TOEFL test. Now, I have a small activity for you. So your job is to match the words on the left with the definition on the right. Of course, there are new words for you, so you need a bit of guesswork, okay? You are going to have 3 minutes to complete this task. Are you ready? Now let's get started. Okay, time's up. Have you finished? Now, let's look at the first word, absorb. So basically, dark colors absorb more heat than lighter ones. For example, on a hot day, wearing a black t-shirt can make you feel hotter than wearing a white t-shirt. So what does it mean, absorb? Yes, that's right. It means to take in. Now, the next word is oppression. Look at the picture. Oppression is the state of cruel treatment, usually unfair treatment. Please pay attention to the next word, storm. Okay? Please don't mistake the verb storm for the noun storm, which describes bad weather with strong wind, thunder, and lightning. Storm here, it means to suddenly attack a place. The next word is aversion. Please look at the man. He is trying to avoid something. So, aversion, it means a feeling of strong dislike. For example, I have an aversion to getting up early. The next word is ponder. So basically, ponder has the same meaning with consider, but it is a more formal way to express a thinking process for a period of time. The last one must be conventional, which means traditional or common. So instead of saying traditional approaches or traditional methods, You can say conventional approaches or conventional methods. Now, please copy down these words into your notebook. So, for this time of questions, you need some necessary skills. The first skill, you need to be able to understand the relationships between different pieces of information. Then you need to identify key category words in a lecture or conversation. You also need to have the ability to understand the characteristics of different categories. And you need to compare the characteristics of different categories. Last but not least, you need to determine if a certain point is discussed in relation to a category. There are some example questions for you.
What does something demonstrate? What does the professor demonstrate by discussing something?
Based on information from the lecture, indicate whether or not each statement is correct. Place a check mark in the correct box. Based on information from the lecture, to which feature does each example relate? Place a check mark in the correct box. Please have a look at the table below. The table illustrates these two questions above. On top of that, I have some pieces of advice for you. So when you listen, please take note, as questions with tables only appear after the lecture or conversation. You also need to pay special attention to category words, the characteristics of categories, and examples. For questions asking if or how each phrase or sentence applies, be sure to click the appropriate box for each answer choice. And please keep in mind that there are different types of tables to complete, some in which you need to click yes or no, and others in which you need to click the correct category. So now, let's dive right into the practice section. The first topic I have for you is biology. Please listen to the recording twice. Are you ready? Now let's get started.
Chapter 6 1. Biology. Listen to a lecture in a biology class. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Recently, everyone's been talking about the sun as if it's the enemy, some even suggesting that we avoid it altogether. However, I want to go over some of the benefits of sunlight today and how it can be good for your health. First of all, the sun provides us with vitamin D that our bodies can use. Vitamin D is essential for our health. We need it to absorb calcium. While we can get a small amount from foods such as liver and egg yolk, the sun is actually our major source of vitamin D. Just 20 minutes of sunlight during the summer causes your body to produce 20,000 units of this vitamin, when the minimum you need is 2,000 units. Secondly, research suggests that getting out in the sun can actually help you be, well, happy. Sun exposure, and this can be hard to grasp, so let me give an example. Some people start to feel down during times when they don't get much exposure to the sun, like in the winter. Evidence suggests that exposure to sunlight can actually reverse this trend of unhappiness. There are many theories that try to explain why this happens, but they all agree that it is related to sunlight.
Please pause the video for a moment. You have 3 minutes to write down the answers, and then we will correct the task together. Now, let's check the answers together. Based on information from the lecture, indicate whether or not each statement is correct. Place a check mark in the correct box. So for the first statement, the sun is a better source of vitamin D than food. Yes or no? So in the recording, it says a small amount from food, such as liver and egg yolk. The sun is actually our major source of vitamin D. So for the first statement, the answer is yes. What about the second one? The human body requires 2 hours of sunlight every day. Of course, the answer is no, because it is not mentioned in the recording. For the last statement, can you hear? In the recording it says, research suggests that getting out in the sun can actually help you be happy. So happy here is the positive state of mind. So for the last statement, the answer is yes. So now I need you to look at the diagram. What about the theory? Exposure to some sunlight is good for you. Support number 1, sun provides vitamin D, which helps us absorb calcium. And support number 2, exposure to sunlight can help make people happy. Now let's move on to the next topic, which is history. Again, I need you to listen to the recording twice and do the test.
Two. History. Listen to a lecture in a history class. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
A symbol, as you all know, is a thing that stands for, represents something else. A tiger, for instance, may symbolize power. An interesting thing is that the meaning of a symbol might change over time. For example, the Bastille was a prison in Paris, and yet somehow it has come to symbolize freedom. Let's talk about how that happened. First, let's focus on the original, what the Bastille used to stand for. The Bastille was a prison. This is during the rule of King Louis XVI. We're talking about the late 1700s. At that time, it was for those who acted or wrote or spoke rebelliously against the French government. It represented a place of political oppression, and the absolute monarchy that controlled France. Anyone who said anything that the government thought was rebellious was put in the Bastille. But this all changed when the people of Paris got fed up with the government and decided to free the prisoners. In what's referred to as the storming of the Bastille, an angry crowd attacked the prison and released everyone in it. This event actually triggered the French Revolution, which brought great change to France. The people were finally free of the absolute monarchy. So as you can see, the Bastille actually became a step toward France's freedom, and I think you can understand why it's now a symbol of freedom too.
Okay, let's correct the answers together. Please look at the table first. The events at the Bastille were caused by the revolution. So in the recording, this event actually triggered the French Revolution. So what does it mean, trigger? Trigger, which means to make something happen. So for the first statement, the answer is no. For the next statement, the Bastille has remained a symbol of political oppression. So you can see that the Bastille was a prison in Paris, and yet somehow it has come to symbolize freedom. So the Bastille has remained a symbol of freedom, not political oppression. So the answer is no. And for the last statement, the Bastille was a prison that was attacked. The answer is definitely yes. Please look at the diagram. Key point number 1. reason that who rebelled is symbol of oppression. And key point number 2, people revolted sparked French Revolution, which is a symbol of freedom.
Did you get all the correct answers? Congratulations.
Okay, let's move on to the next topic, which is also about history. You are going to listen to a recording about Confucianism. Now, listen to the recording twice and do the test.
6. History. Listen to a lecture in a history class. Fill in the diagram with the information that you hear.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be exploring how Confucianism has affected Northeastern Asian countries, such as China, South Korea, and Japan. Confucianism is an early collection of ethics and social and philosophical ideas that are based upon the teachings of the ancient Chinese philosopher Confucius. The basic idea of Confucianism is pretty much how each person can participate in creating a peaceful, well-organized society. Each of the nations I mentioned took Confucianism and modified it to suit its particular tastes. First of all, Confucian ideals shaped the social relations of many people in Northeastern Asia. For example, its influence in Japan can be seen in the way that order and relationships are understood. Confucianism stresses the importance of individual relationships, basically how people relate to each other in terms of their place in society. It's like in a family. Parents and children know their places. So everyone should know their place in society. Many Asian countries have taken this very seriously, and they enjoy a lot of social harmony because of it. Secondly, people have found ways to apply the idea of Confucian social harmony to business. Confucianism actually discourages seeking profit. Confucius said that profit led people to do wrong to other people. Well, that idea wouldn't be a good thing to apply to a business. However, the idea of harmony can really help a business run smoothly. Confucianism's ideals include an aversion to conflict. So, without conflict in the workplace, things run more smoothly. Imagine a workplace where everyone worked together in harmony. In addition, along the same lines as social relationships, if everyone knows their place in the workplace, there are no power struggles, and businesses can operate without any of those complications. If workers aren't just trying to, climb the corporate ladder, they can instead focus on sharing ideas and cooperating.
1. What does the relationship between parents and children demonstrate? Two. What does the professor demonstrate by discussing profit in business? 3. What does the professor demonstrate by discussing power struggles?
Have you got the answer yet? Okay. Now for question number 1. What does the relationship between parents and children demonstrate? So as you can see, Confucianism stresses the importance of individual relationships, basically how people relate to each other in terms of their place in society. So the answer is C. For question number 2, what does the professor demonstrate by discussing profit in business? Okay, Confucius said that profit led people to do wrong to other people. So for question 2, the answer is B. And the last question is, what does the professor demonstrate by discussing power struggles? Okay, the answer is A. Businesses operate smoothly without them. Them here is the power struggles or the conflict. Now, what about the diagram? The topic is Confucianism is not its Asian countries. It shaped ideals of family and social organization, and it can lead to harmony in workplace. Now, the last topic is office hours. You are going to listen to the recording twice. Let's get ready.
7. Office hours. Listen to a conversation between a student and a professor. Fill in a diagram with the information that you hear.
Hi, Mike. Come in.
Hi, Professor Oliver. Do you have a moment?
I sure do. What can I help you with?
Well, I really want to take some courses over the summer here, but the problem is I'll be living at home, which is nearly 4 hours away. I couldn't even consider commuting that distance.
No, certainly not. That'd be 8 hours out of your day just for traveling.
Exactly, but I don't know what to do. I can't live away from home because, 1, I can't afford to get an apartment, and 2, my mom really wants me home.
Well, have you considered taking online courses?
You mean the ones offered by the university? I've considered them, but really, I don't think I could afford them.
No. Actually, they're less expensive than conventional courses you would take here.
Really? I had always thought that they were pricey.
No, actually, in my experience, they don't cost a lot, and they're well worth it. You know, I actually received some of my continuing education credits while taking online courses, so I have an idea of what to expect. They're not particularly expensive at all, especially compared to what you'd have to pay for another semester of college. I assume that the reason you want to take summer classes is to graduate earlier?
Yeah, I'm actually a bit behind at the moment, so it'll help me graduate on time if I can take some summer courses. I haven't come across anyone who has taken online courses until now, so I won't miss out on the vital parts of the classroom experience, like lectures and real communication.
Well, you're a sophomore. I mean, you have 2 more full years of classroom experience ahead of you, so you should get plenty of experience that way. Is it the motivation you're worried about? Like that being at home you wouldn't be as motivated to complete assignments?
No, I mean, I just worry that there'll be no interaction with the professor. Misunderstandings.
Sure, lectures can be a great way to learn, but they aren't the only way. You know, when I took one of my courses online, we did all of our discussions on an internet message board, and I think it allowed people to participate more than they usually would in a classroom.
That's a good point.
And some of the lectures will be text-based, so you can reread what you don't get, and maybe even learn better that way.
This is something to ponder.
1. What does commuting demonstrate? Two. What does the professor demonstrate by discussing her own experience with online courses? 3. What does the professor demonstrate by discussing online message boards?
For the first question, what does commuting demonstrate? The answer is A. The student cannot take summer courses. So why can't the student take summer courses? Yes, because that would take too much time traveling. In the recording, it says that'd be 8 hours out of your day just for traveling. Now, question number 2. What does the professor demonstrate by discussing her own experience with online courses? So in the professor's experience, they don't cost a lot. So the answer is taking summer courses online is affordable. Question number 3. What does the professor demonstrate by discussing online message boards? Okay. As you can hear from the recording, we did all of our discussions on an internet message board, and it allowed people to participate more than they usually would in a classroom. So the answer is D. Now, I need you to look at the diagram. So what is the problem here? The problem is that student wants to take summer courses but will be at home. So the solution to this problem is that take online courses. But this solution have two concerns. The first concern is it is too expensive. But the refutation for this concern is that it is less expensive than regular courses. The second concern is no classroom experience. So the refutation for this concern is that it is not necessary for a learning experience. Here is your homework. You need to listen to the recording again and fill in the blanks to complete the summaries. There are 4 summaries for you to complete. Before we call it a day, I would like you to go through the key vocabulary again. Absorb, oppression, storm, aversion, ponder, conventional. This is the end of the lesson today. Don't forget to do your homework. Thank you and goodbye for now.